This is from NBC News. Ron DeSantis signs Florida bill limiting the liabilities of private spaceflight companies. DeSantis signed the bill a day after he launched his campaign for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination in an event with Twitter's owner Elon Musk, who, of course, is also the CEO of SpaceX. So a little bit of, you scratch my back, I scratch yours here kind of thing going. The Spaceflight Entity Liability Bill, or CSSB 1318, that sounds like the name of Elon's third-born child there. That's what he'll probably name his SB 1318, was one of 27 bills he signed a day after launching his campaign for the Republican nomination during an event with its owner, Elon, like I said, CEO of SpaceX. The new law effectively shields SpaceX and other commercial space companies from lawsuits in the event that anyone on their rockets or capsules are seriously hurt or killed. The bill now requires crew members and passengers to acknowledge the risks of spaceflight by signing a waiver that contains the following statement: warning. Under Florida law, there is no liability for an injury to or death of a participant or crew in a spaceflight activity provided by a spaceflight entity if such injury or death results from the spaceflight activity. Now, this, of course, reeks of corruption, and there's no doubt it is corrupt, but it is not uniquely corrupt in the case of Meatball Ron, because this bill passed unanimously in the Florida State Senate, which is lopsided in the GOP's favor, 28 Republicans, 12 Democrats. But like I said, there was not a single
but in the House,
dissenting
they
vote.
Lost like 5 votes, right?
Yeah, they lost a few
like
in the House. It wasn't unanimous in the
against
House, but it was unanimous in the state Senate. So obviously overwhelming bipartisan support. The space industry is about an $11.4 billion industry for Florida. So, they have both parties by the balls down there. And so in that sense, this is not a scandal unique to DeSantis. Of course, DeSantis did choose to launch his presidential campaign, or at least try to, the day before or 2 days before signing this bill, which is not a terrifically good look. And really what this speaks to, as Russell will outline here, is just the corruption of the whole system, sort of broadly speaking.
Well, that's it. It's the system is so corrupt, he didn't even wait a week. Like, right. why would you do that? That's almost
exactly.
Is that performance art? Does Ron have more of a appreciation of the surreal than we would have expected? As this is signing the Mona Lisa, like she has a hot ass. Like, what is he doing here? It's a little Dadaist to just go and sign this the next day. Yeah, this is where you got to say, what democracy are we saving exactly? Because when you look at the full article, I'm not sure. I think we looked at 2 different ones. The one I looked at broke down how much money these space companies have donated. So like Jeff Bezos is lagging. I think he only gave like 50 million or something.
Yeah, because he has his own. I forget what it's called.
He has Blue Origin.
Blue Origin, that's it.
His is Blue Origin. And then you got Branson over there, Obama's windsurfing buddy. So it just reminds me really of the way the Roman Senate ran. Like, what's the difference? You went to the senator. That's why you wanted to be a senator. That's why you wanted to be a governor, right? Because of the bribes. That was the way business was done. It was just understood. You become a senator, right. You take bribes. How is this different? How is this different? Like, it's right out in the open, just like it would have been in the ancient world. You pay and they pass legislation for you. So when you come to me and you say, we have to save democracy, what on earth? You got a mouse in your pocket? What we are you talking about, motherfucker? Right, what democracy exactly are we saving? That ship sailed. When it sailed is up for debate. Whether it ever actually made it into the dock is something we could debate, but certainly what we have here bears no resemblance to anything that could reasonably just be described as a democracy. It's a kleptocracy. It's a corporatocracy. It's an oligarchy. It's not a democracy. So when you know, you're gonna, you know, probably not our own people too much, but pretty soon you're going to start to get you got to stop Trump. You got to stop Trump. You got to stop Trump. The last 4 years, would we have been worse off under Donald Trump? I would argue we'd probably have been better off under Donald Trump. I think he's right. I don't think the Ukraine war ever would have happened. And that alone, we would not be living under the shadow of World War III. So what are you talking about when you tell me this is an existential threat we have to stop? It's not that I like the other team. It's why I'm not actually planning on voting for them. But the idea, and, you know, you will get it from even some of the people in this space. Well, no, but we can't let that. Why can't we? Why?
Yeah, no, look, when you have the system as corrupted as it is now and as broken as it is now, where you say, yes, companies, now this is one particular industry bribing a particular state government where it operates.
It's like that through the entire system.
You can blow that up. You can shine a light on X issue and find the same basic problem on any scale, right? When the system becomes that corrupted, you know, this is, I mean, we know this. It feels kind of crazy to even say this at this point, but this is how fascism comes to be. Fascism comes to be when democracy becomes meaningless. So if you don't have a functioning democracy, it's not that people wake up one day and decide, hey, I want to be governed by fascist overlords. No, it's that democracy becomes such a mockery of itself that people do not invest in maintaining it anymore, right? And when, in this case, when it becomes so rapacious, where you have people like Nancy Pelosi parlaying their career as Democratic Party leader to $150 million net worth through insider trading, yep. And you have Howard Dean leave office and then go lobby for the pharmaceutical companies, this makes a conscious argument for fascism more sellable, because the fascists can then say, hey, listen, we have to clean house.
Well, that's how it always works.
Or one other way of putting that is, as Trump puts it, drain the swamp.
Drain the swamp.
They come in and say, listen, you have to empower us to crack down on these people because they're out of control, and they are out of control, right? So you make the fascist arguments easier to make. Right? You don't have to worry about a descent into fascism or a, you know, frog in the, you know, pot of boiling water. You make it easier for people to come in and say, listen, what you have now is clearly bullshit. It's clearly serving no one but the people at the top and on the inside of our systems.
Right.
So don't we need to clean house? In order to clean house, don't you need a president and an attorney general who are willing to kick in some doors and drag some people out of their homes and lock them in fucking prison? What I'm describing is fascism, but what I am describing seems necessary when the system gets so out of control, corrupt as it is now. Look, when it comes to this particular story, like, it's one thing to shield the space industry from liability when its rockets explode and kill people. It's another thing to shield Elon Musk from such liability. With the guy with the tunnels launching, and like every day he wakes up with another fucking batshit crazy idea. Like, this is clearly not a guy who's
sending people to Mars.
Right. He's not a guy who's very deterred by risk.
Right? Did you see that?
From liability is kind of like handing a loaded gun to a lunatic and saying, "Oh, hope you don't hurt somebody with it, but we'll grant you legal, you know, we'll grant you some sort of immunity if you do." Like, he clearly has a reckless streak in him. He reminds me of remember the scene in The Aviator where what was that? Was about Howard Hughes, right? Yeah. He's making a film
where he takes up the a lot of people died on that movie.
He's making a film where he's got these pilots flying around, and the scene is so well done because as casually as he processes it, there's a crash and, you know, some of the pilots die, and he keeps the cameras rolling. That's like Elon Musk could be that guy, right?
Yeah, I think that was Hell's Angels.
Seems like, exactly. Seems like a few people died. Okay, that's a shame. You know, and back then Hollywood was very unregulated, right? It was the Wild West. I mean, that goes back to the, you know, obviously the silent era. So that's the kind of personality type that Elon Musk seems to be. So it seems like especially irresponsible to protect his companies from any sort of liability. Next crazy idea he gets someone killed. But the interesting thing about this, I just want to put this up on the screen because obviously Meatball Ron is getting it from both sides. I actually tweeted this out. Like when his campaign launch sort of sputtered, it was this great unifying moment where for the first time in so many years, the shit libs and the MAGA chuds were sort of sharing a common moment where they got to, troll Meatball Ron. And so obviously NBC is a more left of center outlet. And then there were a couple of real, lefty or lib outlets. Rolling Stone jumped on this. New Republic jumped on this. But you even have, a right wing outlet here like the Washington Examiner jumping on this. Florida passes bill benefiting Elon Musk day after DeSantis announcement on Twitter, because the Washington Examiner is a right-wing outlet. They're obviously a pro-Trump outlet, so they are willing to get their digs in on this as well. So he's getting it from all sides here as he launches the campaign.
That's what's strange about it to me. I don't understand. Why would you not just wait a month?
Right.
Or do it before.
Yeah.
I mean, that still doesn't look good, but I mean, do it after you already got the benefit, right? I mean, do it later.
Right.
It doesn't look good either way.
Please clap.